What's up, everybody? My name is KSaun. Welcome back to the WDL. This is the Season 3 Playoffs Top 16, or second round of the playoffs. And we have a ton of best of threes to get into, and I mean a ton. We have 8 different best of threes, so this video is going to be a little longer. Please bear with me, but I hope you guys will enjoy it. We've got some pretty awesome series for you guys today. So, in reverse fashion of last week, we went from the top part of the bracket down to the bottom part of the bracket. This week, I'm going to go bottom to top, and I think next week I'll go top to bottom, and I'll just kind of flip-flop that way to keep things interesting. So, taking a look at the matchups this week. Let's zoom in a little bit. Last week, we had 4 different matchups. MaechenX of Shoometal Alchemists won 2-0 over Highwind, coach of Tears for Spears, and Catrah of Sandrock won 2-1 over Jesus LBL of the Straw Hats. Now, based on the 1 seeds getting somewhat preferential treatment on who they wanted to play against, the matchups for this week for the Rundle and Leonis top half of the bracket are as follows. We have SurfTaco, coach of Raegen against the Machine, versus King Delita of Arknights, Zhalk of Boco Buddies versus Coppola of Holy Divers, Sandrooster of Unicorn Gunfight versus Catrah of Sandrock, and ReadyPlayerWill of the Pandas versus MaechenX of the Shoometal Alchemists. Now, on the bottom half of the bracket here, we had Maverick of the Spaghetti Western winning 2-1 over Spike of Bebop's Crew last week, and we had my team, the Zanarkand, winning 2-0 over Chise and the Heretics, which means the bottom half of the bracket, breaks down as follows. Ram9 of the Rock Boys, that was at 1 seed, faces off behind their 4 Maverick Spaghetti Western. We have Turambar of the Fire Ferrets versus Numero 80 of the Blind Enthusiasts, JB79 of the Paranoid Androids versus my team, the Zanarkand Abes, and MacRain of the Materia Hunters versus CrimsonLyse of the Triumphant Trailblazers. So, in reverse order, like I said, I'm going to start with this bottom series and go all the way up, and then next week we'll go top to bottom, and that's kind of how we'll do it. So, I hope you guys are excited for all of these best of threes. Let's jump into them. Kicking off this round of 16, we've got a couple of awesome players and awesome teams. We've got MacRain's The Materia Hunters versus CrimsonLyse's Triumphant Trailblazers. And it looks like MacRain is running an evasion skills buff on his Pissarro, paired alongside Balo and Minwoo. In our format, this is a very low-cost team at, I believe, 190. Stars of Swiftness coming out from the Velis, and this is probably the staple comp that we've seen coming out from CrimsonLyse this season. He's ran a couple of teams to very, very good success, but I would say this is probably his best one to the point. Oceanic Protection, though, the brand new TMR coming out, I believe, from Summer Glaciella, getting fire and water resistance up, is a smart tech considering that he thought he might run into some fire on MacRain's side, and it's exactly that. Keenblade coming out from the Balo, Indomitable Spirit for the Pissarro, so he now has Courage online. I don't believe Raegen has any sort of Courage to spell. He does have Courage in his kit, however. And Minwoo with Time Mage sub, I expect to probably go for either a Haste or a Quicken here, as Uni's going to go for the side, try and get that high ground, try and be able to nullify any sort of Haste or Quickens coming out from that side. And in fact, it's actually not bad. It's right of the Flame here, the Devout skill. We'll see. The fight should finally break out here. Sonic Octostrike Blade coming up from Raegen. Does he have the accuracy to hit this Pissarro here? Wow. He does not. The answer is no. He missed every hit on that limit break. That is brutal to see if you are CrimsonLyse here. Trinity Burst actually removes the haste, dealing 4,500 damage to the Raegen. That's actually way more than I would have expected from Balo. And Crimson Cuts just takes him out like that. Holy crap, MacRain is just going nuts in this game 1. I mean, I expect nothing less from him. MacRain is one of the best players we have here. Minwoo's going to start channeling another spell, though. But I think this fight is probably already over, unless Uni can kill Pissarro. I mean, that's going to be a very, very tall task here. Velis does have a guaranteed hit in his kit, but it is his limit break. And aside from that, I don't imagine he will have the accuracy to get anything done. Punishing Slow Arrow is just barely going to chip the Balo. Looks like he might have got his reaction ability to kind of neuter that damage. As Reflex from Uni, so he is going to live this Grease Lightning limit break. It's not going to do anything other than remove buffs. Balo, what does he have in store for us with 31 AP? He's just going to go Immortal Spirit. He's got Courage online, and it looks like he's also running that bow tie from what I can see. It looked like only 2 movement there, has set the pace coming out from the Minwoo. So again, trying to make sure that haste is not online for CrimsonLyse. This is a very smart move by MacRain. He's done this before during the season, but expecting probably a Velis, as good lord, Velis did almost 15k damage to the Balo. That poor guy, but he did hang on due to the Courage. MacRain's Pissarro almost one-shots the Velis, but he will get an opportunity to heal himself back up. The question is, though, can Uni get any sort of damage down? Shadowbind will kill Balo, but you've only killed the first form of him. Super Balo is going to come alive now. Max HP up, accuracy, agility, 41 AP for the memes. And what does Minwoo have? I can't imagine she has any sort of offensive skills to use, so she's going to go with another buff here. Velis, I imagine, going to heal himself up. It is going to be a height-based cure, so he's going to be topped up here. And this feels like a one-sided fight. It's hard to say, though. I will say Sapping Sword actually did good damage to the Velis, but he heals it all back and deals damage back on his own reaction ability. Going to keep him alive for probably another turn. I take that back. Falcon Slash, he had the AP for it, dealing over 8,000 damage. And now this should officially all be over here. Maybe that Minwoo does have an offensive spell. This might be an Ultima. Yes, it is. How much damage is it? 4,400. Not too bad. Considering the elemental disadvantage, I can't expect Minwoo to be one-shotting anybody here. Uni, will he get an opportunity to get anything done? Sharpshoot actually dealing a decent amount of damage, but unfortunately that Balo was catching all the attacks before that with the hate. The evasion skills up just to flex on him. It looks like Pissarro said, hey, Balo, you can take this kill. You did great, bud. And that is a Game 1 victory for MacRain and the Materia Hunters. With their playoff lives against the wall here, CrimsonLyse is going to turn to his Sword Knight composition with the Lilith, Whisper, and Lightning. Very cool to see. Again, I'm curious to see how much accuracy is on the comp, as it looks like Raegen did not have enough last time. Relentless Assault coming up from the Lightning, going to get that accuracy up on the party. So at least for a couple of turns, that will be advantageous here. We'll see if the fight will break out before that buff goes away. Divine Shelter coming out from the Whisper. Making yourself nice and tanky with the Protect and Shell, the regen, all that good stuff. Set the pace, the Addison Ray team arc again from the Minwoo. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It was a very nice tech last time. The Keen Blade coming out from the Lilith here is only going to catch on the Whisper, but that might actually be really nice to get the Whisper out in front and make sure that Lightning doesn't catch any sort of AoE here. Indomitable Spirit coming out again from the Pissarro, so he now has Courage Online. Also a physical damage upgrade. And Minwoo is going to start channeling, I imagine, probably a Rite of the Flame again, similar to the last fight here. Can Whisper get in range to deal damage? Yes, she can. Taunting Spell comes out, so she's going to gather some more hate, but does not have the accuracy to hit the Pissarro, so early evasion looking good for MacRain here in game number 2. And what can Lilith get done? She's going to go Divine Virtue. I'm not sure how much range she has on her spells. I don't think that has anything to do with her accuracy. I think she just didn't have the range. Ready to Pursue 2 is online for Lightning, though, so now she is ready to go. That is a pretty massive skill that you need to get online for Lightning to make her as effective as she can be. Taunting Blade did good damage from the Balo. Strike of Ruin is another very nice follow-up, and the Slash Penetration working well against this Whisper as she is really starting to get whittled down. Rites of the Flame coming out onto the Pissarro. I am curious to see if she's running any sort of Blood Sword or anything like that, any way to get herself some more HP. Protection Break, looks like she is not running that, so she is going to be at 3,800 health at the moment. Life Siphon 2 deals decent damage to the Balo and the Minwoo. Actually takes out Minwoo in the backline. That's actually huge. Unfortunately missed the Pissarro, though. She's at a very nice amount of AP at 69 at the moment. Pissarro going to follow up with the Crimson Cuts, though, is going to take out Whisper, and Balo with the Elemental advantage. Can he find this kill on Lightning with 24 AP? He cannot. He's going to go for the Immortal Spirit here. But Lightning would have to find the accuracy and two-shot this Pissarro, and I just don't think it's in the cards. He has Courage Online. Life Siphon 2 is there. It's going to kill the Balo, and it looks like she's actually running Blood Sword as she healed some HP back from that. But Pissarro, this guy is just too dodgy, it seems like. I'm not sure if everything invested into the accuracy build or not from Lightning. But regardless, the dodges are there, and that evasion Pissarro just really putting in work for MacRain. Huge shout out to both players here. CrimsonLyse has only been playing the game for, I think he said, 1 year? Might even be slightly less than that. So either way, huge shout out to CrimsonLyse for a very impressive rookie season in the WDL, and for only playing the game for a year. I think he's shown some massive props there. For how well he did all season. That was really, really awesome to watch. I believe he went 6-3 during the regular season, which is a very impressive record. And hats off to him for sure. And congratulations, obviously, to MacRain and the Materia Hunters. I am now noticing that I accidentally put the wrong dot here on the graphic. I do apologize, guys. MacRain won the game 1, not CrimsonLyse. So I do apologize. I just fixed that right now. I didn't notice that earlier. But MacRain, an amazing person, an amazing player, continues his awesome success, and he is going to head into the top 8. And let's go ahead and check out the next series. Heading into this series between my team, the Zanarkand and Abes, versus JB79's the Paranoid Androids, I'm running a variation of my Greatsword team, with the Boon of the Lion buff coming out immediately from Cloud. I'm running Leonis with his brand new Limit Break in place of Shoometal here, with Heart of Flutter coming out from Raegen. The reason I did this is because there is a decent amount of Earth on JB79's team. One of those units coming out is Yrel, who is alongside Perrine, who runs that Greater Domain of Water buff. And Bolt Barrage comes out from my Leonis, getting himself a nice little barrier. This is that Orlando TMR. And Surges on the other side with the Dragoon's Pride. I will say, did not get haste from the TMR, so not sure, maybe running that Balo cell phone or something like that. But Fatal Oath coming out from Yrel, Raging Waters from the Perrine. And this fight should be kicking off very shortly here. Rain is going to walk forward, go sole prominence onto the Yrel. And it looks like Surges is actually running Bowtie, but Rain does not have the range skill on, which means he will go for the Yrel instead of Surges. Surges is going to go Vacuum Slash for just barely 600 damage, just tickling Rain slightly here. Demon Purger coming up for a crit of 3844 from Yrel, though, is very solid damage. But this comp I'm running is kind of strange because it is a double tank composition. Taunting Blade comes out from Mont, meaning the Limit Break will come out onto Mont instead of Rain, meaning Perrine will not do nearly as much damage as she normally would. However, she will catch a haste, which is very, very strong for her. Power Break coming out from the Rain, dealing just shy of 3k damage to the Surges. And we'll see how this goes. Cross Slash coming up from Cloud, a crit for 6400 damage. Most of it's going to get healed back up, but a good chunk of damage onto the Perrine. Paralysis not landing, though. Obliterate doing about 2,000 damage to the Cloud is little more than I would have liked to see, but 3-step Star Strike is a nice little strike chain going for JB here, as Killer Drain Blade is going to heal Mont back up a bit. And one thing I will note is that Mont has not used his Limit Break yet, as healing power down is onto both Mont and Cloud. Surge is just going to poke his spear through both units here. Yrel is going to follow up and finally kill the Mont. Because Surges was out of range of the Limit Break earlier, went for a Taunting Blade instead. He never got that Limit Break off, meaning he is going to die. But Cloud does pick up a kill, and now this is down to a 2v2. Power Break is doing just a little bit of chip to the Yrel here. The problem is Perrine is probably the best unit in the game to counter Rain. His strike resistance is terrible. She has so much good single target damage, and even that, doing 6k to the Lightning unit. Reflex is going to help out Cloud, but unless he picks up about 3 or 4 more in a row, this fight is probably over. How much damage can Cloud get done? Braver is going to do 5,400, drop the slash resistance, meaning he could probably pick up a kill with maybe 2 more hits, but he's not going to get that opportunity. The Reflex does not come through anymore, just the one time, and JB79 picks up the Game 1 win. In the first game, JB79 brought a team that he hadn't brought out a single time yet this season, and he is doing the same thing in this game as well. And I will note, the positioning from him is a little strange here. It's all the way over to the side. Is Show Me Your Power coming out from Kefka, Dragon's Bloodline from the Lamega, and Mariel is their tank. I am doing something a little different, trying to do a quicken strategy to get Mont across the map right away to get the Limit Break on the team. Mariel's going to get baited out right away, though. Banishka is going to do over 4,000 damage to my Lucia, as Heart of Flutter comes out from my Mont, but I'm saying he's going all the way to the side instead of forward. Lucia has to do so much damage here to help me out because Mont is now going to be next to my party. Sadistic Dance comes out, though, and that is a shitload of damage. It is 7,300, landing not only the Disable, also the Immobilize, meaning Mariel is useless, standing still there. Leonis is going to walk forward, get that Destiny's Cross, that new upgraded Limit Break that costs less AP, gives him 500 CT and a massive heal back. It's actually a pretty tremendous Limit Break, as Kefka's going to go with the height-based cure, so he does not go for his re-raise, he goes for the heal instead. Lucia doing another 5k damage, trying to chain up with herself from earlier here, as the Steel Paw stance comes out from Lamega. This actually nullifies guaranteed hits here. And Skahal has Time Made sub on, which means the only guaranteed hits I have online is Lucia. So I'm hoping that Mont's going to get up close and personal. He's actually going to back up, though, and go for Taunting Blade. And this quicken strategy I had set up that gets Mont all the way across the map was just absolutely foiled here by the position that JB79 has here. But the one thing I have going for me is Kefka can't get any damage done. He's just going to sit back and heal, but Horizontal Shot comes out from Lamega, taking out my Lucia, which means now this is a 2v3, and I am very concerned on whether Skahal actually has the accuracy to hit this Lamega. He does not on that hit. Kefka soaks it up quite a bit because of how much AoE resist he has in his kits, And Lamega taking 0 damage means this fight is probably already over for me. Forsaken finally comes out from the Kefka, finally able to deal some damage, but Lamega with the horizontal shot is going to take out my Skahal. Mont finds an absolutely massive heal back, but the level 4 Banishka comes out, and JB79's team is going to slowly whittle down this Mont Leonis. And it looks like that miracle run that I had going is probably going to end short right here. Light of Judgment comes out for 6900 damage, a very nice amount. Mont is going to follow up with a standard attack. He says, hey, I'm at least going down swinging here. Dual Trigger is going to do just shy of 3k damage. Can Mariel find the kill? Height-based Banish comes out. It will seal it. And that is a Game 2 convincing series victory for JB79. Now, guys, I wanted to put my match near the front of this video because I think there's going to be a bunch of juicy matchups. But I just wanted to talk about my team, how I went during the season, and all that kind of stuff very, very briefly before we get into some of these other matches. First of all, I wanted to give a huge shout out to JB79. Awesome person, and I don't say it enough, but this dude does so much good for the War of the Visions community. I mean, the amount of time that he puts into his videos that are just highly educational. He just does so much stuff, and I really, really, truly appreciate it. I know I've learned a ton from him. I had a blast voice chatting with him, and I will say, as much as I wanted to win, if I was going to lose in the playoffs, I'm glad it is to somebody like JB. He is an absolutely excellent player who just does a lot for the community, and honestly, very, very appreciative of it. I was very happy that I had the opportunity to talk to him during my matches. And massive shout out to him for the simple fact of bringing out 2 creative team comps that he hadn't brought out a single time all season. I did quite a bit of testing this week against some teams that I thought he would bring, and my test results were very, very good. He did not bring either of those teams. He absolutely big-brained it, totally caught me off guard with some of that stuff, and was just very, very impressive. So again, huge shout out to JB. Congratulations on this series win, and let's check out the rest of the matches. Heading into game number 1 of numero 80 and the Blind Enthusiast versus Turambar and the Fire Ferrets. We've got the Wazette 3 seed versus the Heinler 2 seed here, as tracking techniques going to come out from Eliza. So it looks like Moraga going to be used as a physical tank here with the Keen Blade, along with double ice missile in the back. And looking like with this map, everything is very, very close together. Numero 80, it looks like with the Curry going to walk forward, it's going to be very hard to space away from these strike units here, as Automail's Crux coming out from the Edward Elric, the AoE buff coming out from Mariluk, and I expect probably expertise of the Alchemist. No, it's actually Keenblade coming out from Alphonse, and especially with the Keenblade, it is going to be hard to get away from these strike units on this small map. Warning Volley going to hit all 3. A decent chip. CT down onto everybody, but if Moraga can get into good position here, which it looks like he did, Mad Tyrant's Reeve coming out doing very, very little damage, but if he can just soak up turns, Frostmaw Barrage, man, deals very, very good damage, but this Curry is in no man's land at the moment. Wallbreaker's going to find a massive AoE here. Marilu, can she find an AoE? She really doesn't have good AoEs in her kit. Surge Strike, though, actually doing massive damage to Moraga, considering the elemental disadvantage. I know that was a strike chain. Boulder Blockade from Alphonse is going to decimate that backline, and that is a very, very quick Game 1 victory. Looking at the roster, I know the full strike team from Turambar is his most used team. I did wonder if there would be any sort of solution here coming out from numero 80, especially on this map, as his strongest unit is Sephiroth, and Sephiroth is weak to strike. So what can numero 80 cook up in game number 2 to respond to this? We'll have to find out. Heading into the second game here, guys, looks like numero 80 is going to use the Sephiroth. Even though he does have an innate strike weakness, he might still be the best answer for this, especially considering Garvel can bring out a lot of magic damage. And if there's any sort of weakness for this strike team, it is magic damage. The Automail's Crux coming out from Edward, the Bradley team are coming out from Sephiroth, Greater Chi Barrier on Garvel, who is rocking 10,000 HP, and Focus Fist from the Mariluk. So pretty much same old coming out from Turambar. Expect a Keen Blade again. It is just that. So he is probably running the exact same stuff as game 1 and just saying, hey, do you have an answer for this? This is going to be the Limit Break coming out from Edward already, though. Full Metal Rage. How much damage is it going to do? 10,500. Just barely lives it, though. Zazan does stay alive. What does he go for here? It's going to be the Steel Heart. The Charm does not land, though. Not sure if Edward has natural charm resistance or if that's just maybe a Trust Stone and some luck. Well, I'm not sure yet, but Alphonse is going to go Focus Fist. He's going to land the kill onto the Zazan with the Strike Chain. Sephiroth, it is your time to shine. What can you find here? Going to be a Shadow Flare. I believe this is a typeless damage. 4,000 is not bad considering it is Alphonse, who is very, very beefy. Also dropping that CT. Detonation Blast is a good chunk as well. Crowning Chakra, though, coming out from Mariluk. And this Mariluk is just showing out to be an MVP all season for only 40 costs. In this team comp, she is absolutely bananas. Hell's Gate is a ton of damage. Would have killed that Alphonse had it not been for the Crowning Chakra. Wall Breaker dealing 6,600 damage, breaking that barrier onto Garble, though, and he might drop to this Alphonse. Focus Fist does 5k here. Mariluk is going to go next before Sephiroth. They are stacked up very nicely, but man, she does almost over 5k to him. That is tremendous. Spirit Breaker will come out for only 3,300 onto the Alphonse, and he is basically out of AP at this moment. With Television, though, it is not necessarily over. Can he find enough reflexes to make this a game? This Mariluk is absolutely going nuts. She looks like the MVP of this fight here, with the massive heal keeping Alphonse alive, dealing over 10k damage across 2 turns to Sephiroth. And that, man, is just an absolutely dominant team. A very, very impressive one from Turambar we've seen all season. Hats off to both players here. Numero 80 in his rookie season, doing absolutely amazing work all season. Really put in a lot of work with, I believe, his favorite unit in the game, Garble. He looked very impressive all season with the Sephiroth. Even got some good work with some of those ice missile units. Unfortunately, with this matchup, though, I think versus Turambar, I think there weren't a whole lot of answers to this strike comp that he could come up with, especially on this map, getting everybody to close in basically right around the middle right away. You saw game 1, even Curry Wazette was walking forward to like get damage down, which is just unfortunately something that's really hard to overcome. So Numero 80, massive shout out, awesome player, an awesome person. You know, congratulations on making it this far, especially on your first season. And for Turambar, a person who has made it to the grand finals twice in a row, he is looking to try and take it all this season. Can he pull it off? We're going to have to find out, but we'll see him in the top 8 for sure. Who will he be going up against? We'll find out after this next series. Heading into this next series, we've got Ram 9, coach of the Rock Boys, versus Maverick of the Spaghetti Western. Maverick clinching that playoff spot in the final week and then winning a very, very nice series last week versus Ram 9, who was the Season 2 defending champion. The AoE buff coming out from Lucio, Prayer of Resolute Oaths from the Sylvie. And I said AoE buff, but I believe it was a Keenblade here, as Boon of the Lion coming out from the Zazan. We're going to get a little bit of different map look here. This is an interesting map. I believe this is one we played Season 2, like Week 2, if I remember that correctly. The AoE buff coming out from Raegen as Keenblade from Surges. So looking like very similar turn rotations coming out from both players here. And Azumi's stance is online for the Alphonse, which means he has a physical barrier. He's also got defense piercing rate up, and he might be a tank, but he's ready to do a ton of damage as well. Bunny's protection going to give that shell and re-raise to the Sylvie, as Domain of Light coming out from the Lucio, who I'm sure is fully reincarnated. Protecting the light of the future from Raegen here. So he's got courage, he's got his heal back, he's just ready to go here. Leaping Assault dealing about 3,400 damage to the Zazan. Regen is going to proc onto the Surges, and here comes the Stone Enclosure Limb Break from Alphonse. Looking at how much damage this does, this is a 2-hit chain, dealing just over 5k when it's all said and done. Also dealing the slow, but a good chunk of AP wasted from the tank onto just the 30 cost Zazan, and he's going to be fully healed by the Limit Break from Sylvie. And if you're Maverick, I think you're pretty okay with this initial turn rotation, even though Zazan's slowed. Radiant Nova going to hit everybody there. I couldn't tell if the Bravery bonus actually got debuffed onto Raegen. Not sure if he has debuff resistance. I know it landed on Surges, who just got dropped by the 30 cost Zazan. A little 30 on 30 warfare here, as Sonic Octostrike Blade coming out from the Raegen, dealing this Limit Break. But Zazan is standing tall, man, and this guy at only 30 costs is putting in so much work here. Arm Break from the Alphonse will finally take him out, but he did his job. Alphonse is only at 10 AP here, and I think Maverick is in pretty good shape for this first game. 65 AP on the Lucio here. He hits both, drops the Bravery onto Raegen, but I don't believe it landed onto Alphonse, and now this pesky Zazan is back. He is trying to basically do his UR version, Zazan the Unkillable, as I believe it was Mountain Dive from the Raegen, just barely cannot kill Zazan here. And Knight's Blessing again coming out from Sylvie means Alphonse will not be able to kill him. Just a standard attack is 1100. Lucio's going to go again. Scintillating Eclipse does 2500, but this Alphonse is so freaking beefy, man. This looked very, very good for Maverick, but this might still be hard to overcome. AP whittling down on the Lucio here, 3600 damage, but Alphonse is basically half health at the moment. Mountain Dive dealing good damage, still can't get rid of the Zazan. Raegen is now out of AP as well. But Sylvie should finally be in offensive mode here. True Paladin Strike dealing a good chunk and also dropping that defensive piercing. Alphonse still can't kill the Zazan. That is so brutal for Ram 9. He needed to find a kill here. Jamming Edge going to do 2500 and also drop the healing power on Raegen. That could be massive for his heal back, especially when somebody is doing their own heal back. Healing power down is even more crippling because it is both the caster and the receiver. He's going to find the kill on Zazan with his standard attack finally, but it might be too little too late. Lucio's going to go. Crescentic Break, 4800 damage. Does it proc the heal back? It did not. True Paladin Strike comes out for 6k. CT up, and maybe the heal back fades away, unless he didn't use it. I thought he did, but maybe it fades away, but I never actually saw it happen. I could have missed that. Azure Blade Strike does kill the Lucio though, and Sylvie should be able to clean up this kill. Energy Blast, Valifor Summon is going to come out here, 2700 damage, and would you believe it, Maverick with the game 1 victory over Ram 9 and the Rock Boys. Ram 9 is the Wazette 1 seed, and obviously the favorite coming into this week, but Maverick says not so fast. Heck of a game 1 victory, and what does Ram 9 have for it as an answer in game 2? Heading into game number 2 here, guys, Maverick is running a Skahal, Resnick, and Zazan comp, so switching it up quite a bit here, as it looks like Ram 9 is also switching to more traditional Ice Squad with Raegen, Freyevia, and Murmur. With that full Red Mage synergy, Zombie TMR coming out from the Skahal, and the winner of this series will go on to face Turambar as the Momentum King Bradley TMR is on Raegen. And it's interesting either way, because if Maverick wins, it is an all-get-Swifty matchup, and Maverick with an upset. If Ram 9 wins, it is a rematch of the Season 2 Grand Finals. So either way, I think it is pretty hype. We'll have to see what goes on here. Crystal Temperance coming out, the healing power on crit. This is that Sottily TMR on Zazan, so a very, very cool attack against Ram 9, who loves his heals, and especially against this comp, man, could that be massive. Murmur and Freyevia, a lot of times he runs heal back TMRs on both. We'll have to see here. So, bunch of buffing going on at the moment. Skahal looks like he can finally join the fight with some damage. This should be a Thundergo Disposer. I believe he is in range at the moment. It is that, and Freyevia actually caught herself in an AoE. Tons of damage onto the Raegen, and the healing power down is massive. He healed not even 3,000 from that. And does Maverick have his number here? Mountain Dive is a good chunk of damage. Murmur, probably going to go for a heal. No, actually goes for a jamming thrust on Resnick, and she counter cures it, meaning basically no damage. I think Ram 9's Freyevia will probably go for a heal here. She will do that. Knight's Blessing, he is still not fully healthy, but he does have a 3-hit barrier. But this will be interesting. Killer Cross coming out from the Zazan drops the human resist. Raegen should be able to kill Skahal, but he has re-raise online. Mountain Dive dealing a good chunk of damage, but Skahal is going to find another Thundergo, which should proc the courage onto Raegen here, I think. I guess he does have the 3-hit barrier from Knight's Blessing, though, so maybe not. We'll have to see. There should be a massive AoE onto everybody. It procs the courage onto Raegen. He gets CT up. Resnick should be able to fully heal the party, I think, with the limit break. And this is looking so good for Maverick in game 2. Ram 9, who was so dominant all season, Maverick is looking to try and take him out in 2 games. Can he pull it off here? Freyevia and Raegen going to go back-to-back, though. Does she go for another heal, or does she go offensive? She goes offensive. Debilitating counter deals another chunk of damage. Raegen sitting there with 28 AP, should be able to find another AoE though. Mountain Dive comes out, and this time does fully kill the Skahal, and it looks like that agility being tightly wound there is just too much to handle for the Skahal here. Resnick does not have full life in her kit, so I don't imagine she could win this. I was going to say, unless she lands a charm. She went for it right there. That was her one opportunity into winning this. So I got a little overhyped there. I thought Maverick might be able to take this game 2 here, but Catrah coming out from the Raegen, and all of a sudden it looks like this fight wasn't even close. It most certainly was very close. It just doesn't look like it. Steelheart is going to miss, and Ram 9 should be able to pick up this game 2 victory here. Murmur, I expect to go for maybe a Stonga or a Flare or something as she's channeling. Resnick going to Steelheart again, so 3rd time is the charm. Can Freyevia take anyone out here? I don't imagine she can. Oh my god, is she going to full life Skahal? Oh my god. Wait, it's not going to matter. Oh my god, Raegen took her out. Guys, oh my god, I don't even know what I would have done. I don't think I've ever seen that before. She was channeling a spell, which means she was going for a full life. And Zazan typically has hate down anyway. I think she would have full life Skahal. If she would have full life Skahal and Skahal killed the other team, I would have lost my mind. Ram 9 ends up winning the game 2 anyway. So we are going to a game 3. So this is a banger series for sure. But I actually am so curious what would have happened if that full life went up. But we don't get to see it. Regardless, let's head into a game 3, which should be a banger. Let's check it out. All right, guys, final game of this series. Maverick going back to the team that worked for him, and it looks like Ram 9 is sticking with the team that just won him his game as well. Who is going to win it? Keen Blade already coming out from the Lucio to try and get that CT up, which means Zazan will act even before the rest of the other team. As that Prayer of Resolute Oaths comes out, Zazan going to go Boon of the Lion and just run forward as far as he can. And he traverses so much of the map here, he might be able to bait out an attack from somebody. Momentum going to come out from the Raegen again, so that King Bradley TMR is always a nice tech. A track barrier from the Freyavia, so she is not in range to deal damage. I do wonder if Murmur will go for something like a jamming thrust here instead of buffing. Bunny's protection for the Sylvie, so she has re-raise and shell. And Lucio going to go Light Blessing, so this is looking like the exact same game 1 setup from Maverick as, or basically the exact same setup as he did in game 1. But Flare coming up from Murmur is a good chunk of damage. Azure Blade Strike is going to take out Zazan already. And unfortunately, this Zazan not living nearly as long as he did in game 1. He was kind of the MVP there as he soaked tons of hits. Spellveil Blade will deal just a little bit of damage to the Sylvie here as she's going to try and get in range to do a full life. But man, this is going to be hard to overcome. This is already a 3v2. Limit Break coming out from the Raegen. I expect this to deal a ton of damage. This is a massive slash chain, adding up to about 5,700 or something like that. A good chunk of damage, more than half of Lucio's health bar. And this will be a Limit Break coming from Sylvie, so a big old heal and a one-hit barrier will be nice. But you have to wonder if Lucio and Sylvie can get enough damage done, because Sylvie is basically in support mode here. Lucio's going to have to do so much work by himself. Jamming Thrust only does 800. If he can drop the Bravery, maybe he has a chance. Azure Blade Strike deals a ton of damage, though, and drops his Agility, which means he's going to be a bit slower. I expect maybe a Radiant Nova. It is going to be just that. A good chunk of damage on all three, dropping that Bravery on Raegen. But Freyavia is going to go for a heal in the back. Knight's Blessing onto both her and Murmur. And this team just has so much healing on Ram 9's side. If you don't have a ton of healing power down, it is just so incredibly hard to overcome. Knight's Blessing, though, Maverick says, hey, I've got some healing too. Getting that Lucio basically up to full here. Can he kill Raegen or get anybody in the back? It looks like he's going to go find Freyavia, who has all the hate. Luminous Grace is going to come out, dropping that light resistance. At 2,700 and I think 6k to the Murmur is a good start. But again, she has Smile Practice. This double heal, like supportive TMR from Ram 9 is just ridiculous to overcome. Silence Blade comes out. The silence really won't matter because Lucio is a physical unit. Sylvie should finally be in offensive mode. No, she does actually go for the full life, so Zazan is finally back. It is now actually finally back to a 3v3. Killer Cross comes out and drops the human resist. And hold on just a second. Maverick says this is not over yet. Lucio gets a standard attack. It's a little bit of AP. Can Raegen find a kill? No, he certainly cannot. Azure Blade Strike only kills or only hits Zazan here. Cannot even find damage on Lucio. Shadow Flare from the Murmur, so she is in offensive mode here. Dropping the AoE resist on everybody. Actually finds the kill onto Zazan. Sylvie's going to go attack next, though. If her and Lucio can chain up and kill somebody, Clever Paladin Strike doing a good amount of damage in an AoE, but that massive heal back from Raegen. This team is just heals on heals on heals. Blizziga Blade dealing 3,200 damage, removing any debuff she would have had. Lucio's going to use every single bit of AP that he has in his disposal to get a Scintillating Eclipse off, but I think it's going to be not enough. Dark Bahamut Esper is going to come out from the Raegen, and Maverick, it looks like, had a hell of a run, but I don't see a way how Sylvie 1v3s this at the moment. She has all the AP in the world, but I don't think she has Reflex, and she's going to need it to have a chance. Clever Paladin Strike will claim her a kill, so it is at least not a 3v1 at the moment. Raegen will find the standard attack. Freyavia should be able to find the kill, I believe. No, she's going to go for a full life. She says, I want all of my allies alive. How much damage can she do? Clever Paladin Strike is a good chunk. Man, if she could lap with herself, maybe she could pull it off. But not going to happen. Raegen is going to follow up, find the attack. Oh my god, wait, she has re-raise. What am I talking about? 9. Wait, there are 9 actions left. If this full life whiffs, I don't think it'll whiff. Okay, I didn't whiff. She runs like 97 Faith on Murmur. I can't imagine that would miss, but it's technically not impossible. Spellveil Blade will come out from the Freyavia. We'll find the kill onto the Sylvie. And man, oh man, that was one heck of a series. Just so much healing in that series. It was absolutely nuts. Huge shout out to Maverick and the Spaghetti Western. He's an amazing player. He's very, very good. He had an excellent roster. He made a really great run, you know, finding the playoffs in that final week, winning last week, and honestly giving Ram9 for a run for his money. I know when I played Ram9, I lost 2-0. It was an impressive showing. He almost took it. And huge shout out to Ram9 as well, our Season 2 Grand Champion. It looks like he is going to win this series and find himself in a rematch of the Grand Finals against Turambar next week. That is hype as hell. And I will break down the bracket at the end of the video, you guys, but we've got 4 more best of 3s to jump into. I don't want to waste any more time, so let's go check them out. All right, guys, with the Wizette and Heinler Division Series down, we've got Leonis and Rundal here to kick things off. We've got MaechenX of the Shoometal Alchemists going with Show Me Your Power from his Kefka alongside the other Fire Glove user, Roy Mustang, with their Treasures Hunter's Fortune buff, trying to make sure that agility and luck up, trying to make sure they're accurate enough, and maybe even catch a lucky dodge. Spirit of Wizette coming out from the Flagbearer Glassy alongside Mont Leonis and Sosha, a very, very successful comp that we've seen all season coming out from ReadyPlayerWill's team. Keenblade coming out from the Sosha, and the initial turn rotation coming out to make sure that Mercy's Grace hits on everybody, getting elemental resistance up. Zombie TMR as well means Mont Leonis is rocking about 14k health. The Dragon's Bloodline coming out from Zazan to try and make sure that Mont Limit Break Bomb does not work, though. A very smart tech coming out from MaechenX here, as it looks like that more the merrier TMR coming out from Flagbearer Glassy. Very smart to try and ignore some of that magic damage coming out from the other side. Dragon's Might from Sosha, the re-raise from Kefka, and now this fight should hopefully kick off here in just a second. Roy Mustang going to snap his fingers, go fuel to the fire. Oh my goodness, Glaciella going to kick things off. I can't speak. 7,000 damage from the Dispelling Spear Flight is quite a bit, though, as Fangs of Leonis goes and hits the Kefka. It disables him. He doesn't go for the limit break. They nullified the Berserk, but they don't have enough of the disable resistance, apparently. Sosha's going to jump up into the skies, and this is brutal for Machen. Kefka does have re-raise, which means if he comes back to life, he will not be useless, but this is so brutal. Kefka's going to completely whiff his turn here, and this is looking like it is probably a Game 1 victory for ReadyPlayerWill. It'd be hard to imagine Machen comes back from this. Roy Mustang's going to have to put in so much work. He's going to do it, though. True Triple Combustion hits a nice little 3-hit fire chain onto both Glassy and the Sosha. Going to take out the Kefka. Will he get an opportunity to act here? He's going to get some CT up, which means he might hop Sosha in the turn order. He is going to. Can he find a massive limit break? No, he's going to channel a spell here. Is it a single target or an AoE? And does he get it off in time? He should. Hyperdrive comes out, 8,500 damage and getting rid of that zombie TMR, but Jamming Dive kills the Kefka. And you do wonder if he was able to get maybe another attack off earlier, maybe this would be different, but unless Roy Mustang goes absolutely nuts, which he is going to try, hitting 4 times with that fire magic, Sosha barely hangs on, though. Dispelling Spearflight is going to kill the Roy, and that is a Game 1 victory for ReadyPlayerWill and the Pandas. A bit of a tough break there with the disable. I do wonder if MaechenX, I don't think he must have any disable resistance in the kit, because I think it's only a 25% chance, but regardless, we'll see what kind of adjustments he makes for Game 2. Heading into game number 2 here, ReadyPlayerWill of the Pandas, it looks like is rocking the same composition that he just brought out in game 1. MaechenX is doing the same as well. This is a little bit of a position change, though, trying to go higher up on the cliff here. Show Me Your Power again coming out from the Kefka as the Dragon's Bloodline catches all 3. And you do wonder now, is the disable resistance there this time? But this time the positioning from MaechenX baits out Glassy right away, and she will not get that AoE buff online, which means she will not be as tanky. The zombie TMR coming out from Mont Leonis here. And this might be really, really interesting for MaechenX. Did this positioning change anything? We'll have to find out. Jamming Edge coming out from the Zazan's going to start up the damage, dropping that healing power. That part really won't matter. But Kefka, can he find an AoE with the Light of Judgment? We'll have to find out. Purgatory Firestorm coming out from Roy, so he can't reach the tank, and they might just be able to kill this Glassy. before this shit even kicks off. No, it is a hyperdrive. It is a single target attack. It does strip the re-raise, but it is not that AoE. It is not going to kill Glassy. Triple cross coming out. I will say, though, Kefka tanks it insanely well because he has so much AoE resist, and he finds the hyper reactivity. Fangs of Leonis does not land. Can't tell whether he had disable resistance or not because the damage did not land, but who knows? Dragon Dive whiffs, or does not whiff, I'm sorry, does a good chunk of damage. Dance of the Mad comes out from Kefka, though. You have to imagine this kills Glassy. She has good AoE resist, but yeah, it's just enough, and it finds a double confusion, even with the heal back. That is very, very good for Machen. Roy Mustang's going to go next, go fuel to the fire, so he will not disrupt any of the confusion. Sosha is going to stab Mont in the back here, and he is going to go next with the Fangs of Leonis. No disable this time. I imagine probably an adjustment there coming out from Machen here. Twin Chi Rupture is not honestly doing that much damage. This Sosha is just so bulky. But can Roy Mustang clean it up? True Triple Combustion will do just that on the Sosha. Does Mont Leonis have a chance here in a 1v2? Kefka's going to drop. It is now a 1v1. How much damage can Roy do to King Mont here? He's got all the AP in the world. I imagine he has to win this. Incinerator does 4,800, and he's actually going to lap because he stood still, which means MaechenX's Roy should be able to clean up this fight. He's going to snap his fingers. He's going to make that Game 2 victory come true. And wouldn't you know, we are headed to a Game 3. Heading into game number 3, MaechenX won game 2 with an excellent position change, but it looks like he thinks that is not enough to take game 3, subbing out the Roy Mustang and subbing in Zoma, who is going to be more prepared to beat Glaciella, but probably less so against the Mont due to the elemental advantages there. Zoma's going to go Oblivion's Presence, though, and give that Bravery down for 3 turns to his allies. That could be pretty massive here. Keenblade coming out from the Sosha, get that CT up on everybody. And we have yet to see a series upset on the day. So far, all the favorites have won. Does ReadyPlayerWill keep that going? Or does MaechenX pull it off here with a reverse sweep? Zombie TMR coming out from the King Mont. Good fortune from Flagbearer Glassy. And so now this is a much better setup coming up from ReadyPlayerWill. He didn't have the opportunity to get those buffs online last time. The Steel Heart goes off, but the Charm does not land. That Charm would have been absolutely destructive for Machen, but it does not go off. Kefka's going to start channeling a spell, though. What does he go for from this angle? I'm not sure what he can reach. Sosha's going to jump up into the air. Psy Cannon coming out from the Zoma does 2,700 damage, dropping the Spirit as well and healing himself up a little bit. Light of Judgment will also drop the magic attack resistance, but it deals very little damage. The Dragon Dive dealing 5k. Triple Cross will chain up very, very nicely. Zazan's going to drop, and MaechenX is now finding himself in a 2v3. Kefka, can you find a massive confusion? He cannot. He's going to go for a channeled spell instead of the Limit Break. I do wonder if that was a setup change based on, you know, some of the stuff that ReadyPlayerWill did with the shell, or maybe less magic attack resist to not get the debuff. Regardless, Hyperdrive comes out. The heal back will go on King Mont, though, and Glacial Doom comes out from Zoma, but I think this only hits Sosha. 4,900 damage is decent, but man, I think this is too little too late. Unless Kefka can find a massive Limit Break, I think this is MaechenX's only way into this fight. This is a very healthy comp coming out from ReadyPlayerWill. The heal back doing very little from Zoma with that healing power down. Kefka, can he find it? He's going to start channeling a spell again. Dispelling Spear Flight is going to chop him down in the middle of his spell cast. And this is a 1v3 in favor of ReadyPlayerWill, meaning he should be able to take this victory here. Zoma's a good unit, but I don't think he has that in the cards. And an excellent response by ReadyPlayerWill with the positional change, making sure he doesn't get caught off guard and not be able to get his buffs off. Frostbite will land. Man, again, I just don't think it matters. I don't think he can get nearly that much damage done in a couple of turns. Psy Cannon will come out for 3,200, dropping the Spirit. Mont Leonis with 0 AP is going to drag this fight out a little bit, as he can't walk past the tree to get any sort of damage. Glassy will spear him right through his side, saying, hey, you get one more turn to try and deal some damage here. But that big blue monster, unfortunately, will not get it done. Psy Cannon will heal him up just a tiny bit, but Iron Blow still does not seal the deal. Glassy will finally take him out, and she's going to make it look dramatic with the Dark Odin summon, also landing the poison. And that is a Game 3 victory for ReadyPlayerWill and the Pandas. I think we knew probably what the result of that game was going to be somewhat early on based on the damage, but Zoma really tried his best and tried to stay in there as long as he possibly could. huge shout out to both players again. MaechenX, a Season 1 veteran and an excellent player. MaechenX has made the playoffs in all 3 seasons. He has been as consistent as they come and as strong of a player as they come, and it comes to no surprise to me that he brought this to a 3-game series against ReadyPlayerWill, who is obviously an absolute beast. He is in his rookie season. Huge shout out to ReadyPlayerWill, very similarly to I said JB79 earlier in the video, but massive props to ReadyPlayerWill for all he does for the community with all of his videos and just all of his knowledge. He's very helpful in the Discords as well. And just massive shout out to him, and good luck to him in the top 8 because he will be there. So with this series over and done with, we've got 3 more to get into. Let's see who wins the next one. Heading into the next Leonis and Rundall series to determine who will be facing off against ReadyPlayerWill in the next round. We've got Sandrooster, the Leonis 1 seed, rocking that Automails Crux on Edward Elric alongside Gargus and Phoebe, a very, very strong team who we've seen just crushing people all season. Revitalize coming out from the Frederica, though, so a couple of missile units coming out from Catrah. He says, hey, I need to take them out before they get close to me. And we'll see how it works out. The Haste team are coming out from the Gargus. What can Charisse get done? She's going to go Pursuit Techniques, get that AP up, attack up, reaction block rate up, all that good stuff. Can Freyevia soak up some of these hits with that elemental advantage over the wind units? This might actually be a very smart resolution coming out from Catrah here. As the Quicken comes out from Phoebe, it goes off before Edward's turn goes, but he has so much agility, and she gains CT up every time she quickens, so a lot of times this can still be useful even if it doesn't seem like it's as effective. 3,900 damage actually tanked up quite well by the Freyevia though, and I don't expect this to do a tremendous amount either. Yeah, only 600, and it looks like Freyevia is an excellent answer to this team that Sandrooster is bringing. Barrage doing a good chunk to everyone. Now the question is though, how fast does this Quicken go off? It's not a Quicken. It is a Knight's Blessing, which means that Freyevia might be able to move out of the way of these other 2 units to avoid any sort of AoE. Fall with the Stars coming out from Charisse. And how much damage this is going to do? There's a 3-hit barrier onto everybody, and that is actually mitigating damage quite a bit. Freyevia, as long as she can get out of the way here, which she will, she's going to go Spellveil Blade. Doing a little bit of damage here, but you do wonder... I don't think Gargus can find an AoE on every... Oh my gosh. Freyevia doesn't have hate. Freyevia doesn't have the hate. That is brutal. Windlash is going to hit both units in the back here. Spear Transmutation comes out, dealing a chunk to the Freyevia. I'm not sure if Catrah could have pulled this off or not, but I think it would have been pretty close. But unfortunately, Gargus says, hey, I don't care about your tank. I'm just going backline right away. And this channeled spell should be a Quicken. And this should be a Flare from Gargus that I imagine will come close to killing her. 2,800 damage. Will the standard attack do it? Yes, it will, and that is a Game 1 victory for Sandrooster and Unicorn Gunfight. Heading into game number 2 here, does Catrah have any sort of response? It looks like he's going full missile here. I expect that this might be Ranger sub Cloud, considering that he's running 3 missile units, and I think that he thinks his strategy is I have to kill them before they get close, so... we'll have to see. Revitalize coming out from the Frederica. She dealt very good damage last time. Blade of Overcoming coming out from the Cloud. I believe this is Stern Wing of Destiny's TMR. The Jealous Wrath coming out from Gargus as well, meaning he's going to try and berserk enemies that he doesn't kill. And Fina is going to go Bright Flame Revigoration. That is, I believe, Setia's TMR. So, how much damage can these missile units get done before Edward closes the gap? Gains a little bit of AP from his AP Restore. He's going to go with the King Bradley TMR. And this Edward is a very, very speedy boy. Frederica is going to go with the Barrage. 3,100 damage. It's only going to find the Phoebe, though. These units from Sandrooster's team spacing out quite well. Sparkle Shower does just shy of 2k, but the damage is among different units. Knight's Blessing will heal them up to full regardless. He has a 3-hit barrier. And man, this is going to be really hard to get through. Soldier's Honor coming out from the Cloud means he is not in range to deal any damage right now. And Gargus has so much range. This map is brutal if you were going against him here. Edward Elric going to go with the Adamantine Pillar. Does almost 11,000, taking out the Fina. And this is an early 3v2 in Sandrooster's favor. Nimble Movement actually from the Gargus, so he is not in range to deal damage. Can Frederica get anything done? Vital Sharp Shot does almost 5k and removes the haste. That is actually pretty impressive. But unless she reflexes, which she did not, she's going to get dropped like a bad habit. 1 hit from Sandrooster's Edward. Can Cloud claim a kill? Yes, he can. Braver will do 7,200, so it is not over yet. but Cloud needs to get in there in 2v1, and Phoebe is going to start channeling a full life, I think. I think Catrah's only possible way of winning this is if full life whiffs, and Cloud needs to live this hit, which he is not going to. 12k damage coming up from the Gargus. That is a very, very strong guy. And my goodness, Sandrooster, just an absolutely impressive, showcase, an excellent team all season. An impressive 2-0 series victory. Shout out to Catrah, a Season 2 veteran. He played his first season last season, and to be completely honest, didn't do fantastic in his first season. A lot of people struggle, including myself, in their first season. He did excellently this season. He really did a lot better. He ended up being the 4th seed in his division, ended up winning his first playoff series. So honestly, just a really impressive showing by him. I thought he did awesome all season, but Sandrooster was just too much to overcome. His team is absolutely terrifying, and I would not want to face off against Unicorn Gunfight. So that is going to be an excellent series next week, where he is going to be facing off against ReadyPlayerWill. I think that's going to be a really good one, but we've got 2 more series to get into, guys, and let's check those out. All right, guys, this next series should be a good one. A couple of Friday Night Fight veterans and a couple of absolute beasts of this game. Coppola of the Holy Divers versus Zhalk of Boco Buddies. Calamity Stronghold coming out on turn 1 from Mashri Horn, paired up alongside the Mariel and Skahal. Zhalk is running a team that we've seen many times. Boon of the Line coming out on turn 1 for Sephiroth, paired up alongside Little Leela and Grace here. As Skahal, I imagine, is going to go some sort of Time Mage spell here, either a Haste or a Quicken. Heart of Flutter coming out from the Mariel. And this series was the series I said last week that I was probably most looking forward to, as I don't think there is a favored team in this series. Coppola only lost 2 games all season, and Zhalk only lost 1. Zhalk lost to Rooster, and Coppola lost to ReadyPlayerWill and SurfTaco. So both of these teams are super, super good. Calamity Stronghold coming out again, just basically refreshing that one-hit barrier, making sure no pesky status effects can happen here. And Mariel soaked that damage insanely well. What is she going to go for here? Chicken Blade is going to drop the Bravery. Dealing 3,300 damage is a good start. I am curious, though, with Grace being a very bulky backline healer, Skahal is going to have to do a ton of work here, I think, to get through this team. That being said, though, Mariel is looking like she is stacking some heavy dark resistance, as she took very little damage from that Sephiroth. She can get quite a bit of dark res due to her, it's like Dark Spirit Sanctuary, I believe, is the passive. Taunting spell coming out from the Little Leela, though, is a nice little Dark Slash chain. Mariel gets the Mind Crusher on all 3. And I will say this positioning is very, very interesting. She moves out of the way, but I was going to say she's basically blocking off the walking path for any of these units to try and escape here. Mariel traversing the map so quickly makes it so these 3 units are basically stacked together, and Skahal likes that very, very much for a Thundergut Disposer. Here's the Limit Break coming out from Zhalk's Sephiroth, though. This is going to remove Purge and Re-Raise. Obviously, Mariel does not have either one of those. She does have Dark Res and AoE Res, though, and she is soaking this Sephiroth very, very well. And it looks like Mashri is not going to get a whole lot done here. I'm not sure if I said Mashri earlier. If I said Mariel instead, I do apologize, or maybe Marguerite. Regardless, it's a lot of M names. But here comes Skahal, going to start channeling a spell. Will this be a Flare, or will it be a Thundergut? I'm not sure you can get a Thundergut at this angle. So this might be a Flare onto the tank here. Grace is going to start channeling a spell, but it might be too late. Little Leela might drop to this. 4,200. She does not. She tanks that from Skahal. That is impressive to see, as Hallowed Ray. I said Skahal was going to have to do a bunch of damage, but Mashri looking pretty impressive there. Paralyzing Edge dealing another 4k. Sephiroth is out of AP. Kiriga is going to hit everybody there, heal them all up. Little Leela still has regen and caught AoE res, but crucially did not kill Mariel. So now Mariel is just hanging in there. Skahal might be able to find the AoE this time. He will. He will find Thundergun all 3. Drops the lightning attack resist on the Sephiroth here. And Grace, she should not have any sort of offensive spell. She should be able to channel another Kiriga, but Sephiroth can clean up the kill. That slash chain did almost 9,000. That shows you how much dark resistance she had. That standard attack basically did more than any other ability he had used up to that point. This is now a 3v2 in Zhalk's favor, though, and this is going to be very hard to overcome if you're Coppola, I think. The regen does proc again from the Little Leela, and she's now back to full health with 14k HP. And this SR unit is just built differently. What is Grace going to go for? Does she have S-Una in her kit to try and get rid of this Immobilize? Or does she go for another heal? Sephiroth might be low enough to proc that. Thundergun is going to hit all 3 again. dealing a good chunk of damage. It is Regenerator 2 coming out, another Kiriga. And that AoE resistance is really, really helping. Sephiroth with only 23 AP is going to go Hell's Gate. He has enough. Procs the Courage onto Skahal. And now, does Mashari have any sort of heals here, or is she in attack mode? She does. She has her own TMR. That is a full heal with the 3-hit barrier. Can Skahal find a kill on Sephiroth? I don't think so. The last 3 times he's gone for it, he hasn't found it. But Divine Thunder Summon does have RNG in the mix. It's only a 25% chance, but it has a chance to paralyze. And it does paralyze the little Leela. Unfortunately, does not paralyze the Sephiroth. With that massive regen, though, with all that healing power, that regen did so much. Holy cow. And the Abyssal Doom comes out. Interesting. This is the Esper. This does not drop Skahal below 70%, though, I believe, which means his Immortal Courage is still in play. But you have to wonder at this point, oh my god, that debilitating counter might be massive, actually. He finds a standard attack, he doesn't kill Skahal. That debilitating counter might be massive. I was just about to say, I think Zhalk just wins on turns. But now I'm not sure, because the cast time here is going to be huge here. There are 10 actions left. Grace is going to go for a heal, but Skahal might kill Sephiroth right now before the cast time goes off. His cast time should be faster. Thundergust can hit all 3. It is going to. Oh my goodness. That debilitating counter might be the difference. This is going to come down to turns. This is 8 turns left. There's no way that one of these teams is going to get wiped out. 7 actions. Fight 3 Holy Knight's Purge is a good chunk, but I think Grace is low enough to go for a heal here. Skahal is going to channel damage again. Umbral Lightning Fall, the Dark Ramu, it is not enough to kill, and now if Grace gets a full heal, this is, oh my goodness, this is going to be insanely close. This Kiriga should top off this entire team. Does Little Leela get paralyzed? Yes, she does. So she can't get AoE damage on the party. If she was able to heal everybody, that Kiriga actually doesn't even hit Little Leela. I think it was a Kurata, not Kiriga, which means the AoE does not hit Little Leela. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Coppola just won that on turns. That fight was like, oh my gosh. That fight was so close. That fight was basically a tie. Coppola wins it on turns due to, I think it's considered percentage health. I don't think it's total health, because I think Zhalk might have even had still more total health, actually, because Little Leela was just a very bulky lady. But that was insane. That debilitating counter, I think, ended up being the difference. I think that Grace would have been able to heal up Sephiroth in time had it not been for that. So that debilitating counter was massive. It obviously is a 50% counter rate, so it is a huge one, but that was massive for game 1. And now I'm very curious to see what Zhalk has in response for game 2. All right, heading into the second game here, what is the switch up? Because these are the exact same 3 units from both sides. And Coppola's strategy last time to get Mariel onto the other side as quickly as possible, I think, worked quite well. It kept the entire team stacked up very nicely. The Calamity Stronghold going to come out again from Mashri, getting that 1-hit barrier on everybody and nullifying a ton of status effects. And looking like Zhalk is going with the same strategy here with the Boon of the Lion on turn 1. Heart of Flutter coming out again from Mariel. And you do wonder, is all the moves and stuff like that going to end up being the exact same? I think we saw Sweet Support coming out from Grace last time. And this is a Guard Haste. This is not a Quicken. But does Mariel get across the entire field this time like last time? It doesn't look like she's going to. Heart of Flutter comes out from the Little Leela, which means she is going to start moving forward. Mashri's going to start moving forward as well. And what does Grace have in store for the party? I thought she was just standing still for a second, but she is going to start channeling a spell. I think she has an AoE Spirit up buff that also gives Spirit debuff resistance, I believe. Mariel doing just a little bit of damage to the Little Leela as Teleric Fury is chained up, but soaked up quite well by the Mariel here. Skahal, I don't think is in range to deal damage here, which means it should be a Guard Haste onto himself. So he is going to be very, very speedy. And I think he's going to need to be to get this damage down. 3k damage coming up from the Little Leela. Mashri might be able to in range. Yes, she is. Hallowed Ray 5k onto the Sephiroth is very, very nice. That Little Leela walked backwards, not doing her ally any favor here, as Mind Crusher is a good chunk of damage. Can Skahal find a kill here? Oh my goodness, there's no way, right? Can he find a kill here? Divine Thunder Summon? I don't think this does enough damage. He's got a lot of AoE resist in the kit. It does not do enough. If he found that kill, that would have been absolutely massive. But Grace should be able to full heal this Sephiroth from here, I believe. She's going to start channeling a spell. Sephiroth with 62 AP is just going to standard attack the Mariel. because that does more damage than any ability he has in his kit, which is just absolutely nuts. He's going to get some AoE resist up. The heal actually only did 4k, which is not nearly as much as I thought it would have been. She does gain some healing power from the counter, though, so if she gets another heal, it could be pretty massive. Skhal is going to find the angle on Little Leela and Sephiroth at the same time, though. Sephiroth is almost dead. And could this be Coppola's upset in game 2 here? Grace is going to channel for a spell. She's going to go for another Curaga. Does she get it off in time, or does Mashri kill? She's going to start channeling a spell. It's not an instant cast. I think Hallowed Ray is instant cast, and she's not going for whatever that is. Hell's Gate comes out. A ton of damage. Auto Cure is going to heal herself up. Little Leela is going to go, but then Mashri goes before Grace. I think Mashri just kills. Oh my god, Silencing Spell silenced the Mashri. That just saved Sephiroth's life. And that might have just won Zhalk the game in game 2. I'm pretty sure Mashri kills right there. I'm pretty sure that's offensive. Skhal still kills Sephiroth. Oh my god, Coppola might have still won this. Mug happens, removes all buffs. Grace does have full life, I believe, in her kit, though, which means she should still have an opportunity to bring him back. Mashri is going to go next, going to go for Knight's Blessing. Even though she's silenced, she can use TP skills. She just cannot use AP skills. The full life does go off on Sephiroth, so I got a little too excited a little too quickly. This channeled spell coming out from the Skhal here should be a Thundaga, I believe, on all 3, I think. No, it's going to be a Flare. I'm not sure if he can find that AoE with some of those pillars in the way. 5,600 damage is decent. The Regenerator, again, getting proc for Little Leela, though. And these battles are just a war of attrition. I mean, these battles are probably going to go to turns again or something close. Mariel eventually does die here. This is now a 3v2 in Zhalk's favor, but Coppola won the 2v3 last time. Can he do it again? Grace is channeling another spell. Revive comes out from Mashri because she cannot deal damage. Curaga Perseverant is going to heal everybody up to full, though. And with 17 actions left and Skhal's AP dwindling down, that tells you how long of a fight this has been, because he's almost out of AP. He should never run out of AP. Thundaga Disposer comes out. Little Leela's going to go next, just with a standard attack here. Mashri going to go next with whipping him in the face with her mace, or right around the chest area, probably. I don't think she's that tall. Chicken Blade going to come out, dropping the Bravery on the Little Leela. And this series is so long, I'm going to lose my voice by the end of it. And this is only a game 2. Debilitating Counter comes out, 3,400 damage. Shadow Flare is going to hit all 3. That is a ton of damage. It's going to drop the Mariel. The Auto Cure comes out from Mashri. The silence is now faded away. So Coppola might be able to pull this off yet in game 2 here. Skhal and Mashri are going to go back to back. If they can find a double kill on these 2 units, Umbral Lightning Fall comes out because Skhal is out of AP. I forgot about that. As another Regenerator gets procced. If there wasn't enough healing in this series, please, sir, may I have another? Grace, I imagine, going to go for another heal. As she is going to start channeling. What is Little Leela going to go for? Does she have the AP for the silencing spell? No, she gets taunting spell, actually, getting some hate up. But I don't think Mashri's going to be able to get enough done in 8 turns. She's going to start channeling a spell again. Sephiroth with 0 AP should be able to land a kill on one of these guys. Dark Mega Flare actually going to come out, so the Dark Bahamut Esper will find the kill on Skhal, which means Zhalk should be able to find this game 2 victory, and we should be heading to a game 3. Curaga Perseverant will top up both of the lower cost units here. Grace is going to start channeling again. And man, oh man, this series is just war of attrition. Will game 3 end up being more of the same here? Because game 1 and game 2 were very similar, but Zhalk obviously got the better end of this one, and Coppola got the better end of game 1. I don't know, man. I'm curious to find out, and let's jump into the 3rd game. Final game of this series, guys, and we've got Zhalk and Coppola again. It looks like rocking the same compositions that they brought to the first 2 games here. Calamity Stronghold again coming out from the Mashri Horn. So healing power up, that 1-hit barrier, all those nullifications. This is all pretty much the same stuff what we've seen already. I'm curious to see if this is a haste or a quicken, and it looks like both teams lining up on the same side as each other. And I'm curious if this is a quicken. This could be very similar to game 1, where Coppola pinned him in the back and was not able to really leave that area. I'm very curious to see if this is a haste or a quicken. This is a guard haste. Okay, so I don't think Mariel is going to be able to get there in time. We'll have to see. Heart of Fire comes out from the Little Leela. She might, because she actually did not walk forward. She walked to the side. Mashri's going to channel something, probably. Nope, she's just going to walk forward and she's going to stand still. She's going to mind her business. not do a whole lot. Grace is going to start channeling another buff, but Mariel with that haste finds the backline. Mind Crusher gets the spirit down on both the Grace and the Little Leela. And now the Telluric Fury. This is looking very, very similar to game number 1 here. Skahal going to start channeling another spell, which means this should be another guard haste on himself, I believe. The Shell comes out with the White Mage sub-job coming out from Little Leela to try and ignore some of that magic damage coming out. The Taunting spell is a good chunk here. Little over 3k damage on the Dark Slash chain, as Grace isn't going to go for heals. They're not low enough at the moment, but she will go for another buff. And Mariel almost chaining up with herself, alongside with the Blood Sword, it looks like, basically being able to heal herself up as well. Machery is out of buffs, though. She really has nothing left to do, as the Zombie TMR is online for Skahal. That obviously won't matter if Sephiroth goes for the Limit Break, but if he doesn't, it could be pretty advantageous. Sephiroth is finally going to get an opportunity to act, though. The standard attack will crit for just shy of 4k here. And what can Mariel find? Is it another Spear Crusher? No, it's a Banishka Blade, actually, which I believe has Dark Killer in it. I believe. The Regenerator comes out from the Little Leela, but Mariel is putting in some work. All of this damage on Zhalk's team is from the Mariel. Grace should be able to heal it all up to full at this moment here, but she is doing a great job of just trying to waste AP and stuff like that. The one thing going against that strategy for Coppola, though, is that Sephiroth's best attack is actually no AP. It's just the standard attack, but the Holy comes out from Grace. This is actually not a heal. Oh my goodness. Wait just a second here. This might be a Thundergun on all 3. It's actually just on 2. It's a ton of damage, though. And if Machery can find a kill on one of these 2, I think Little Leela has hate, so I don't imagine Machery can find Grace. We'll see. Hell's Gate comes through. It is not the Limit Break. I imagine probably some slash resist on Mariel, so he's going for that instead of the Limit Break. The auto cure lands. Coppola's Skahal is sitting there with 1 AP, or 1 HP, excuse me, as Divine Thunder Summon comes out. Does it land a paralysis? It does on Little Leela, and it kills the Grace. That Grace going for the offensive Holy instead of the heal. They apparently must not have been below the HP thresholds, and now Zhalk Sephiroth is in a 1v3. But if anybody could pull it off, it is probably him. If he Limit Breaks, that Knight's Blessing is massive, though. I just said that. I was about to say I think Sephiroth could pull this off. I'm not so sure now, because he needs to Limit Break, which he is not going to, because Skahal still has his re-raise. He's only got 16 AP. Skahal is going to start channeling a spell. I expect this to be a flare, and the non-elemental damage is a lot. No, it's actually Thundergun Disposer, but regardless, Cloud finds the kill, and Coppola wins game 3 of this series, becoming our first team of the lower seed, or the worst seed, to win a series this week, being the 3rd seed to beat the 2 seed. That was a hell of a series. Obviously, I was cracking jokes about losing my voice because the game 1 and game 2 basically went to turns, but very, very well played by both teams. You could tell that both teams had an idea what the other person would bring, and prepped very, very well for it. Coppola's strategy of basically being able to get that Mariel all the way across the map, to basically just buy time for Skahal to kind of close the gap, I think was excellently well played. Zhalk and Coppola are 2 of the best minds that we have in this game. So obviously it was just awesome to watch them all season. Zhalk, in his rookie season, getting 2nd place, going 8-1 through the regular season. Honestly, a bit unfortunate that he had to play somebody like Coppola in the first round. That's a bit of an unlucky draw, if I have to say so myself. But regardless, he did awesome all season. I'm looking forward to Coppola in the next round, and I'm looking forward to seeing who he will face off against. It will be the winner of our final series. Let's see who wins that one. Final series of the top 16, we have the only team to go undefeated all season, SurfTaco, coach of Raegen against the Machine, versus King Delita of Arknights. And Dragon's Bloodline comes out from the Sephiroth on turn 1. So it looks like SurfTaco worried about some of those status effects coming out from the other side. Obviously, Charm, Stop, Berserk are all really, really brutal to face off against. As a Red Mage composition coming out from King Delita, a player who has a massive upgrade to his roster and his play from Season 2 to Season 3. I believe that was the Jealous Wrath DMR coming out from Orlando. And this full Red Mage squad is nothing to joke about here. Sweet support coming out from the Murmur, as we have seen a couple of familiar units, a couple of similar units on both sides. Both teams have Raegen, both teams have Murmur. It'll be interesting to see how many mirror matches we get in this series. Dragon's Bloodline going to be refreshed again, actually, from the Sephiroth. So he's not using some of the the buffs in his kit. He's opting to go for that TMR on basically everybody here. Keenblade coming out from the Whisper, who will caught the haste from her sister Murmur. Crest of the Black Lion coming out from Orlando, so he's ready to go with some additional AoE resist. And Murmur's going to try and make sure that everybody on the party is hasted up here. Divine Shelter coming out from the Whisper. I mean, she is nice and tanky. Sephiroth's going to go with the Veil of Woe, getting that 3-hit barrier and AP auto restore. And it's a little bit of time before some of these units can finally close in on each other. It looks like starting on opposite sides of the map, so not a whole lot of high octane to kick things off, but protecting the light of the future coming out from Raegen, getting himself that courage. Have to see if that Sephiroth uses his limit break to dispel it at any point here. Orlando going to go with Claim the Flag, Beach Guard. Interesting. This is, I believe, to give a reaction block that mitigates strike damage. And this is the new Summer Glassy VC. So interesting. Not sure what he was expecting coming out from SurfTaco's team. The damage is chained up. I will say, though, Orlando actually just soaked that nicely. And that might have actually just been a strike attack right there. So I'm not sure if that counter went off. I didn't quite catch it. But regardless, smart tech if that's the case. That is the limit break coming out from Raegen, dealing a good chunk, over half of Whisper's health. Murmur is going to start channeling a spell, which means she's probably going to heal her sister here. Sephiroth, does he go for the limit break? It's actually going to be the Hell's Gate, not the limit break. However, it is going to take out Orlando, though. Raegen will find his self-heal, putting himself back up to full. But this is looking very, very good for SurfTaco in game one here. Whisper is going to go with Protection Break, 4,000 damage, dropping the defense and the spirit. Murmur, can she get in range to go for a heal? I believe she can. Kira will top off Raegen, but he is essentially in a 1v3 here. Murmur is obviously there to back him up. But here we go. Sephiroth going to go with the Octaslash, which means there is no more courage on Raegen. So I expect this to probably deal at least half of his health. 5,000 damage is going to do just that. Is Murmur now in attack mode, though, or is she going to heal? And of course, I mean King Delita's Murmur, not SurfTaco's, who is probably going for a heal here. Mountain Dive is going to kill the Whisper, which means if this is a heal, it's going to whiff. It is going to do that. Cura is going to whiff completely. And Murmur is going to start channeling a spell. I do wonder if she had a haste or a heal TMR or anything like that to use. But obviously, Hell's Gate is going to rip right through Raegen. Cura is only going to heal herself. And this SurfTaco Sephiroth is an absolute beast. It looks like he is going to take this game one victory. Aeolian's Onslaught going to come out for 6,500 damage. And Raegen against the Machine picks up where they left off in the regular season. An excellent game one victory. Heading into game number 2 here, King Delita, what does he have for response? He's running an interesting comp here. So he is running Raegen and a couple of low-cost units, McLeod and Naya. Believe this to me, coming out from Raegen on turn 1. And we have, it looks like, I was looking at the health bars on the left side. I thought I saw a Raegen mirror match. It is a Raegen mirror match. Okay, so interestingly enough, full red mage composition coming out from SurfTaco, and the double ice with Naya support coming out from King Delita. So SurfTaco says, hey, I see your Raegen. Let's see whose is bigger. Guardian's Fighting Spirit coming out from the Miranda. That is the Rain TMR, I believe, getting Spirit up on the entire party. So maybe expecting some magic damage coming out from King Delita, maybe something like a Summer Helena or something like that. But that is not the case on this team. Naya's going to start channeling a spell. I imagine either a Protect or a Reflect, something like that. Fight Like a Pirate comes out from Raegen. And with that coat, I will say he looks a little bit like a pirate as he uses that Ferris TMR. And what does the other one go for? It's going to be the Courage and Reaction block rate coming out from SurfTaco's Raegen. So the Reflect comes out. That will be very, very useful, actually, if Miranda goes for an attack. This Naya could actually end up being pretty important. And just looking at the stats, it's hard to say. It's possible that King Delita is just running a bunch of ice cards, but it's possible that King Delita's Raegen is more heavily reincarnated than SurfTaco's. I know Raegen, obviously the mascot for SurfTaco's team, but he might have put more into units like Sephiroth and stuff like that. Curious to see how this matchup turns out, though. The King Bradley TMR on McLeod, so both ice units are now hasted up. The Stonega gets reflected, but it basically deals no damage. Murmur, with that insane magic attack resistance, actually soaks it up really, really well, and that's going to help out the Miranda a ton. The Courage removal on the Raegen from the other Raegen means a good chunk of damage, but it's going to get healed all the way back. However, King Delita's Raegen is still fully healthy. Miranda, what is she going to go for, though? It's going to be a Water Good Dispeller. Does the sleep land? It does not. 5,600 damage is a good start, though. McLeod is still out of range of damage, though. Crimson Blade Strike is going to finish off the Murmur and remove the Courage on the other Raegen. And this Raegen on Raegen matchup is an interesting one. McLeod's going to go Neutralizing Lance, though. And that procs the Courage from Miranda. That was a ton of damage. But SurfTaco's Raegen's going to go next. Crimson Blade Strike is going to take out King Delita's Raegen. Naya, what does she go for? Is it a heal or is it a full life? I imagine this is a Curaga. Miranda might be able to finish this off before, though. No, she won't. The Curaga is going to go first. How much damage does this do? Water Gun Dispeller. It puts the Naya to sleep. McLeod is alive, though. How much damage can he do? Neutralizing Lance is going to hit both. It's a double kill. And King Delita wins game 2 with McLeod going absolutely nuts at the end. That was actually an amazing McLeod showcase. I haven't seen a whole lot of him this season, but putting in work with him and taking this series to a game 3. Heading into the final game of the series, I honestly feel bad for SurfTaco going into this season, or this playoffs, because I think there's probably a ton of pressure being undefeated going into the playoffs. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes out. King Delita pulling off a game win. Can he pull off the series win? That would be something else. Dragon's Pride coming out from the Whisper, the AoE buff coming out from Kefka, and Grace of Eternal Friendship for the Adelard. So double Fire Magic Squad alongside the Whisper, and there is a Naya on the other side, which means Reflect is in play. And I have to wonder if Adelard gets reflected as own Sealing Thrust into his face, he probably will one-shot himself. Aurora of Blessings coming up from the Naya, as it looks like Summer Helena and Dario to boot. So tank, damage, and support. Very traditional comp coming out from King Delita. Protection Break's only going to do about 1,000 damage, but it will gather her some hate very nicely. I don't think that SurfTaco's Kefka got re-raise off. He's going to go for an offensive spell here. He went for the AoE buff, but I don't think he ever got re-raised. That could be pretty major here. King Delita's Naya is going to start channeling a spell. Summer Helena going to go with the Limit Break, and this is a fantastic Limit Break. Spells Shell, which is very good against Whisper. Also drops AoE resist, I believe. I believe it dispels Shell. I could be wrong. I didn't see it say anything, but I'm pretty sure it got rid of it. Actually, I don't even know if she used that. I think she just used a haste TMR now that I think about it. Anyway, regardless, Aeroga Blade Life Run coming out from the Dario, removing the haste. Whisper crucially just barely hangs on. Arm Break comes out. The Disable does not land, but she does live another hit, which means she will soak one more. But this Kefka, who I don't think got re-raise off, Sealing Thrust does so much damage to the Summer Helena. Holy shit, 9k. Just absolutely decimates her, and Kefka's like, wait, what target was I aiming at? She disappeared out of nowhere. Full life comes back, though, which means Summer Helena is back in play. Whisper going to find a standard attack. Dario should be able to clean her up here. Might even be able to find an AoE on the Kefka as well. No, he's actually going to go Aeroga Blade Life Run on Adelard. I'm so confused. Maybe Whisper with 100 slash resist and would have lived? I don't know, but Kefka takes out Summer Helena again. But Naya has 2 casts of full life. And will she go for another one here? Resistance Break from the Adelard. He's just going absolutely nuts in this fight. And Kefka is going to find the kill. This is now a 3v1 in favor of SurfTaco here, as the Esper is going to come out from Whisper, but I don't imagine this kills, which means a full life can come out. Can Summer Helena pull off a crazy 1v3 here if she comes back to life? Looking at the turn order, she might be next here. If this full life goes off, this is not over. Full life's going to land. Summer Helena is up to bat. Can she find a double kill here? Again, I don't think Kefka got re-raised. Summer Helena is going to go next. She's going to go Midsummer Magic. That is a double kill. Oh my goodness. And now King Delita is now in a 2v1 favored Summer Helena and Naya versus Adelard. He's going to start channeling a spell. This is going to be a Fire Raga. It doesn't kill Summer Helena. It kills Naya. And this is down to the wire. Oh my god, Summer Helena is going to go Midsummer Magic. 4,500 damage. Doesn't kill the Adelard. And Adelard's going to go next. Sealing Thrust is going to kill her. And the Adelard pulls off the 2v1 at the end. Oh my goodness. Oh man, that was the best series we had all week. I'm so glad that was last. I went in reverse order of the bracket from bottom to top. I'm so glad I left that for last. That series was amazing. King Delita, huge shout out, huge props for... honestly, I think putting up the best fight against SurfTaco that he's had the entire season. I seriously believe that. He won every single week all season. He had very little 3-game series. I think he only had 1, if I remember correctly. And that fight was down to the wire. I mean, I would have been clenching hard if I was SurfTaco. So that series was insane. Huge props to King Delita for doing so well in Season 3, especially compared to where he did in Season 2. Obviously, just a huge upgrade there. And obviously, massive props to SurfTaco, who won the series. Our Season 1 Grand Champion is looking impressive as hell and is looking to try and continue his run to maybe become a Season 3 Grand Champion as well. But man, oh man, excellent series, guys. And let's go check out the bracket. All right, guys, all those best of threes are in the books, and do forgive me. I hope I did an okay job casting. I am kind of losing my voice. I think I'm kind of sick right now. I was gone all weekend on a family trip, and that was a whole lot of fun, but I think I'm coming down with something and shoutcasting right now while I'm doing it. My voice feels very hoarse, so I do apologize. I hope I did an okay job, but I was fighting it a little bit as I was going through. So that being said, this is how the bracket looks going into the top 8. So let's just take a look at the bottom half, the first series that we went through this week. And now let's start with MacRain of the Materia Hunters and CrimsonLyse. MacRain obviously won 2-0, so he will advance, and he will play against JB79 of the Paranoid Androids, who beat my team 2-0. Now, I touched on going over the match, me playing against JB. He's a really awesome guy. He gives a lot back to the community. Super, super appreciative. I just wanted to give one quick moment to kind of reflect on myself and my team this season and stuff like that. In terms of my roster, I think I did a decent job drafting in terms of strength, but I think I did a better job of picking units that I actually wanted to use. I had a couple units that I didn't use at all. I never once used my dark units, so I used one light unit of Jaden Rundall, but otherwise I never used dark light in any other fashion, and I used mostly units that I really, really enjoyed. I'm very happy that I did that throughout the regular season. And I kind of started to realize the newest unit on my roster was actually Slime. Other than that, Little Eel the Bold is the newest unit on my roster, which she doesn't even get 140 until tomorrow as I'm filming this. Anyway, this is kind of a long-winded way of saying I don't think I had the strongest roster in the world. I think I had a very solid one, and I'm proud of the way that I did this season. I'm proud of the way that I finished. I made the playoffs for the first time. I obviously could have done better, and there's always room for improvement, but I just like to see that every season I've gotten a little better, and who knows, maybe a season 4 down the road that I will do even better. We'll have to see what happens, what the future holds and stuff like that, but regardless, I'm pretty proud of my result. And again, huge congratulations to JB79, and I wish him luck in the rest of the bracket. So that being said, the next series, we had Turambar of the Fire Ferrets winning 2-0 against Numero 80 and the Blind Enthusiasts. So Turambar and the Fire Ferrets will face off against Ram 9 and the Rock Boys, who won 2-1 over Maverick. This series is so damn hype. If you guys don't know, these were the 2 finalists of the Season 2 Grand Championship. They played against each other. Ram 9 of the Rock Boys won 3-1 in that series. It was a best of 5, not a best of 3. This will be a best of 3, but I'm sure they are both just licking their chops, chomping at the bit to get into that series, and it should be a heck of a good one. So again, JB versus MacRain, Ram 9 against Turambar. Those are 4 excellent players to be in the top 8. Extremely, extremely deserving. Looking at the top half of the bracket here, I'll go top to bottom here. SurfTaco, Raegen against the Machine versus King Delita of Arknights. SurfTaco picked King Delita over Machen in terms of his opponent. King Delita almost made him pay for that. King Delita just put on an absolute show, but SurfTaco is an absolute beast of a player, one of the best that we have in the league, if not the best. He's an absolute monster, and he ended up closing out the series regardless, which means he will face off against Coppola and Holy Divers, who beat Zhalk of Boco Buddies 2-1. So this is the only matchup that we had a lower seed win against the higher seed, which means this is the only matchup that we have 2 teams of the same division going off against each other. So SurfTaco and Coppola. And Coppola last season won 8 weeks and lost 1 week in the regular season. The only team that beat him was SurfTaco. He had a chance to get his revenge this season. He did not get it. This is another opportunity for him. Is third time the charm? Does Coppola pull it off this time and actually beat SurfTaco in the playoffs? If you were ever going to do it, this is the time to do it. But regardless, that should be an absolute banger of a matchup. And this last matchup we have is an absolutely amazing one as well. Sandrooster won 2-0 over Catrah, and ReadyPlayerWill won 2-1 over MaechenX, which means Sandrooster of Unicorn Gunfight plays against ReadyPlayerWill of the Pandas. Guys, honestly, if I was just taking all the teams in the WDL and all the players in the WDL, and this is really hard to do because we seriously have so many fucking like amazingly good players in this league, it is hard for me to say that this might not be like the best 8 players we have in the league. Like, there's quite a few in this top 16 that I could easily make the case for, but these 8 players are just absolutely outstanding. They're so ridiculously good, and all of them have excellent rosters. I truly believe that any one of these teams could pull this off and win the whole thing. Like, I actually genuinely believe that. So I think the top 8 should be a lot of fun. Super good matches. I'm really interested to see what happens, and I hope you guys are too. So thank you guys so much for watching the WDL all season. Look forward to next week, that top 8 going on. It should be a whole lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.